I confronted this situation, like that situation, like this reality. Then came the worst part. And I am reading that first chapter and I'm just like, what happened? Like, where did it go? I never wanted to write in a right way. I have been bragging with it to my family like almost for 3 days. I just wanted to write it because I myself laughed at it. Hi, that's my weekly recap, and I want to share with what I faced this week as a person who's trying to write a fantasy book. I would like to start with what was the main thing about this week, and it's not about writing. So I had this violin concert, which I mentioned in my previous weekly recap. Well, first thing is that I thought it will be like a concert because it is called a concert, but it was more like an exam. So that was the main thing about this week, this concert, which was in Wednesday. Yes, if talking about writing, then this weird situation happened. I think it was Saturday evening, almost night. I was sitting in front of my computer, staring at my manuscript. I was trying to write something, force it out. So I confronted this situation, like that situation, like this reality. That first thing that hurt it the most. No, okay, that's later. So I'll start with something simple. The simplest part of this was that the reality that throughout these 6 months, I haven't written a single chapter. That's a disaster. It's a big deal. Why? Why it's a big deal? Especially for me. So you could place that maybe I'm a slow writer and so on. But when I started, because I started writing this book before I started this YouTube channel. So I was writing, of course, first chapter doesn't count because that's the place where you find a steady ground, and a lot of writers stretch it. So that was only the first chapter. After the first chapter, I was writing, well, at bare minimum, I was writing 1 chapter per month. So within this time, since this time, since I returned to Ukraine, I logically was supposed to write, well, at least 6 chapters. And I'm staring at my manuscript and I'm just like, what is wrong? What happened? Why I can't move on? Because like I said in few weekly recaps earlier, I had this clear image. I was almost writing it and I still couldn't. And of course I was up to blame my college because stress and this pressure, but that's not the whole thing. So that was the first thing. That's the first thing I was mad about. It wasn't really hurt. Of course, every anger comes at some point from pain, but yes, it was more like I was frustrated with myself and with this book. And then I started, well, I thought then I will write this additional scene then. Like, why I say additional scene? It's not additional scene, like word to word. It's just scenes that don't really yet are written to my actual manuscript, like into actual book, but just in a separate document where I write different scenes. I write at the moment and later I will insert them into actual book. So that's how I've been working for this 3, maybe 4 weeks. And I thought, well, fine, I will write that additional scene then. Then came the worst part, because I realized that my writing became heavily formulated. Like every sentence is written through some math formula. It's no longer raw, it's no longer original, it became worse. Like, I was quite fond. I was very excited about my writing voice. We call it writing voice, but my type of writing, because as if I read first chapter, it's so me, like it screams my writing voice. If you read my prologue, but maybe it's not really it, because in my prologue I still edited it later, and maybe it's no longer like this felt in this kind of large scale as it is in my first chapter, because first chapter was my ever first chapter. And there's other scene I wrote even before that first chapter. That's my manuscript, and that's my masterpiece. And I am reading that first chapter, and I'm just like, what happened? Like, where did it go? Like, I read my new scenes I wrote, and it's disastrous in that point that it's not ridiculous, it's not funny, it's fabricated. It became very, that's not even forced. It became like very, like I said, it became formulated. Like, I have formula of sentences. Like, sentences became, like, they gained formula. And I don't want the formulated sentences. They became distant because they are formulated and they kind of come automatically. They no longer build that string. I started reading it, and I wanted to analyze it with cold head. Well, if I read my last works, there's no writing voice at all. It's some blur of events and feelings, but even feelings, they're formulated. They are described as right psychologically. And I found the issue with my mom's help, because I feel like I want to crash down, and like, actually feeling was horrible. Like, I'm trying to squish it a lot, but I was feeling like the last piece of my mom just like comes into my room, and I explain her all the situation with no tears, important to mention. And then we've reached that it's stress, and plus we found out that there is a new thing I changed here. Something I obtained here, something I didn't do back in Vienna. I discovered writing YouTube. Because, like I said, in my free time, I turn on any writing YouTube video. I started listening everything that comes with writing. I consumed it. Like, terribly. I overconsumed it. It's returning to EFC psychology, because that's the easiest way I can explain it. So my manager, like that logical, reasonable part who wants to write the book in the best way possible, strangled up my soul, because shut up, we need to do it right. I never wanted to write in a right way. I wanted to write what I feel, but with these writing tips and what I should write, how it should look like, I erased that raw feeling I had, and that raw writing, that terrifically wrong way of writing. Oh, take every writing rule, everything is wrong there. But it works, and I love it so much, my hand doesn't lift to change a thing there. And I love that first chapter, and I want it back. I want that sensation, I want that ability back. If you want to know, I still didn't gain it back. Okay, so that Saturday evening, my mom said that I should forbid myself to write, or at least for a week. I should leave chapters be like for a month. Like, I don't even look at my actual manuscript. Well, that thought was terrific and ridiculous. Because and I was just like, what do you mean I don't write? I actually have an issue that I can't write. Well, technically the issue is that I try to push it out and I'm trying to force it while I can't. That's why I kind of obtained that feeling. How Brandon Sanderson writes that fast? I got these jokes in fantasy community because everyone is making fun. The second thing I did wrong is that I tried to write when I was already exhausted. Not only physically, but mentally. Like I said, this post-Soviet college is a huge mental load. Okay? Even if I don't take those, knowing psychology and all of those, and all the emotional maturity, those things still have its effect. Not only that I'm exhausted, I still remember them. And then, with this kind of mindset, I'm trying to write. Horrible way to write. Never do it like this. So basically, throughout this 6 months, I kind of linked my tiredness, like my exhaustion, to the writing process, which is it's a disaster. I didn't knew I was doing it. Well, till Wednesday, I didn't even open my computer, because what time I should write, how I should write. I found out that I can't write even a sentence without strangling that raw message, like that raw feeling that before I write, I analyze, okay, fine, that I already started sentence like this, or that's not I dive into the grammatical, not even grammar, because my grammar is wrong, as you can already put together. Yes, but can you imagine this week was productive? I didn't knew that was possible. I did writing detox, but this week was still more productive than, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks before. Like month, 2, I don't know. This week was like not on the amount of world building I did, but what world building I did and what writing I did. So from this horrible note, I will finish with quite a pleasant one. Honestly, I would like to start with world building. I also, to keep that routine of not doing separate world building, because this world building is a bit different, I picked another diary, and here I started writing not really necessary but very crucial world building. Like, for example, here. So as I said, I have multiple kingdoms. I written down what mornings are in these different kingdoms. So, of course, I didn't, as you can see, there are blank spaces. I just wrote the names of the kingdom. So that's where I see where I have issue with actually developing the world building. You see, I'm diving into technical things, but I actually had fun writing those. It was actually fun. So I started doing world building in this diary, because this one kind of, it felt wrong. I didn't want to do. Can you imagine? That doesn't even sound like me. So that was crucial, okay? Mornings in different kingdoms, that was crucial. Because it might sound like some not crucial thing. But what I discovered is, through mornings, I discovered what that kingdom is, people, everything. Because I think it matters more than political system. Because people and their mentality in that kingdom matters, well, at least to me, it matters more than how regional the political system is or anything like this. Yes, so I'm quite happy that I did this kind of world building, like mornings, or, of course I have superstitions, but I don't think I actually wrote them. I have been bragging with it to my family almost for 3 days. Basically, what I did in this paper. So I started, I don't know if you can see it. First of all, I wanted to create a map. That's paint. So, yes, in this kind of weird paper, you can't see anything because there isn't much of things to see. I started writing royal families like royal houses, because at some point they're houses, and of empire. Then I decided that other kingdoms needs more detailed bloodline map, and I did it. Look. So you won't, unless my family couldn't read it. I can't, but mostly I did it for myself. Like founders of the kingdom, if that makes sense, and they're like, and later like all the, I don't know how else to call it, like bloodline map. That's how I will call it. So it's really confusing even for me at some point, because I was doing it blindly. Okay, so why I'm so excited about it? I'm excited about it because, so how it looked like. I decided that, of course, there should be founders. And I saw founders as a couple that came to that land with other family. That's a bit different topic. So that's a bit history. I still haven't written down. And I opened Pinterest with, like, these names and meanings. And I picked what was, made sense. And I put it all together blindly, like I had no plotting. I just wrote what I had in mind, like at this and this, and so it came down to the present characters. Great, isn't it? I honestly never thought I will do it, but I felt like I wanted to. I felt that call, and I did it. So it was fun, actually. I was sitting, and that stain you saw is like this spray. I thought it will look good. It didn't, and I made the whole room toxic, but yes, it felt weird. And it felt great, actually. I hadn't felt like this for a while, so that's why I'm excited I did it. To the writing, because I still wrote. I broke that plan, like not to write for a week. But at some point, okay, so let me explain. Guilty, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I don't know what's wrong. So I wrote I wrote scenes by hand in this diary, because computer apparently is not a thing. Okay, so that's how I wrote these scenes, like by hand. So what's so great about it? I wrote, for the first time, I wrote a scene from Avir's perspective. I never did. And I wrote, and I wanted to write it in my computer. I wanted to write it in that additional scene document. I also need to rename it. First of all, the first scene I wrote this week was something fun. Like, not for the plot, not to open a character, nothing like this, but for siblings dynamic. But not that I was planning to write it to strengthen a sibling dynamic, like I need to make them closer, I need readers to feel sympathy for it. I just wanted to write it because I myself laughed at it. That's why I wrote it. I wasn't planning, I never planned a scene, okay, so readers feel guilty or readers feel sad and so on. I don't plan it like this. I plan something that will summon feelings in me. That's the first place. I'm the one writing it. So it's not like selfless, altruistic activity. That's the first scene I wrote, and I like it. It's more or less closer, because like I said, I still didn't get that raw writing voice I had at the beginning, but that's something closer. More or less, that's something closer. Also, I was very careful with it, not to dive into technical writing, like physical writing things. So that's the first thing. Second thing, for the first time, I wrote a scene from Viela's perspective. So 2 weeks ago, she was a huge huge problem, like top one problem. Now I confidently write chapter from her perspective, like chapter scene. Why say chapter? Yes, not the chapter, but scene. Scene. I wrote a scene from her perspective. I don't know whether I'll be able to remove it. I don't want it, okay? If I could, I would probably never allow myself to watch those videos again. If I could bring back time, I would probably... Yes, I would probably not watch it. Because honestly, I can't say that I learned something new, only that I deviated from my main feeling, view, image I had with this story. Yes, that was my week of writing detox. Not a full week, but I don't know. Have you as a writer ever done a writing detox week? Like on purpose, not just that you haven't wrote anything. Like on purpose, you forbid yourself from writing, like purposely. Because I mean, I myself also have weeks where I don't write, but I honestly forbade myself from writing. The way I formed this video, that was my whole week. Plus, I'm now thinking about also technical things. Life takes a lot of time. Like, life consumes majority of my time. Don't like it. I have test today. And I haven't prepared, as you can imagine. I don't know how... Is there writers who study and they have good grades, plus they have time to write, and they write actually, and they don't face the issue I did, like with exhaustion and technical issues, like over technicalizing the writing process. Terrible, weird situation. I never thought I will face something like this. So, but it was fun, and surprisingly, this writing detox week was productive. What helped me also this writing time, like this writing week, was also that I started doing this habit. I read one chapter. Thus spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche. So I started reading, and it helped me as well. Weird, but it did help. And yes, of course, not. I don't think that ideas is so heavy for me to understand as vocabulary. I can't read this book without Google Translate. I feel like, I don't know, like I have A1 English level. There are some words I didn't knew English even has. Nietzsche also is an aspect that helped me, especially the 5th chapter helped me as well. I like the 5th chapter. That's on my reading life. I also feel that it's important to mention. Writing detox is a new thing for me, so you could write me, have you ever experienced it? Write me in the comments, what do you think? Do you relate? And yes, if you want to support me, give it a like, and if you want to see if you just like me want to know where this story is going to end, then you could subscribe. That's where I say bye for this week. That's all, folks.